All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is Joe Rogan rips Kamala Harris. They better cover themselves and lie. Let's just go ahead and clean that up a little bit. All right, let's go and check it out. Let's see where this takes us.
On set right now. Joe, we have seen Hollywood rejection of Donald Trump before. It doesn't usually work out too well for them. So what's your reaction to what's going on?
I just love the fact that Trump said he was elected chairman of the board of the Kennedy Center unanimously. Because he did it himself,
yeah, right? Okay.
I'm shocked that
CNN
should have done a fact check on that. That would have been kind of funny. But as Trump said, the center has become wokey. He says he's going to make it hot again, and then his exact words were, we made the presidency hot again, so this shouldn't be too hard. But the shows that we're playing there, to Cheryl's point earlier, include Broadway Drag Brunch, a drag salute to divas, Dragtastic Dress Up, which featured a drag story hour. So that...
Okay, and so basically this is the stuff that was basically being pushed by the federal government? Yeah, nah, bro. Nah.
Sound you hear? That's JFK rolling over in his grave.
No
How did
idea.
we get there exactly? It's all about the ecosystem, right? And the people you just said that just resigned. They got a bailout, a huge one during COVID, and they only went on to fire people, the little people, as the pretentious would say. But this is how it works. Elections have consequences. He's the executive. He can fire whoever he wants. Let's get some diversity in there, true diversity, and not these niche shows that only apply to a small part of the population.
Let's get back to the Nutcracker. Some wonderful ballets and cultural performances. That sounds like it would be a good idea. Okay, so let's go back into the Wayback Machine, if you will, back to the presidential election. If you remember, Donald Trump did an interview with Joe Rogan, and Kamala Harris was actually supposed to do one as well, but then her camps came out and said there was scheduling issues.
Yeah, you guys, listen, when Kamala Harris decided not to do Joe Rogan, that was absolutely silly. All right, so obviously it still has a man problem. Not enough men are really interested in, dealing with the Democrat Party in a meaningful manner. Specifically, if you are a straight man, I don't know why you're even there. I don't understand it. What are you getting from this party? Nothing? They hate you.
Joe Rogan wanted this date, couldn't do that date, we couldn't make it work. Well, Joe Rogan is now responding to all of that. I'll let him speak for himself on how he feels about what the Harris campaign said. Watch this.
It's just normal political. They just lie. They cover their and they lie. I would have been very happy to have her on. And like I said, the goal was to release both of them the same day. They just got scared. They could have put her in. I would have held her hand. We would have had a conversation. I'm not going to be antagonistic. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be. I have no desire to turn this into a viral clip thing.
Honestly, I believe that. I 100% believe that.
So what do you think about that? I guess if there's any lesson learned, it's go on the Joe Rogan podcast if you're invited on the Joe Rogan podcast and you're running for president.
Yeah, and Carly, don't make your own rules. So if you remember during the campaign, the Kamala campaign said, we are not going to Austin, Texas. We're too busy. Yet Donald Trump went to Austin, Texas, and J.D. Vance went to Austin, Texas for that interview. And then they said, we're not doing 3 hours. We're only doing an hour max. And Rogan said, no.
Nah, that's not his show.
Because I've never done that for anybody before. I'm not about to make any exceptions. And by the way, he endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2020. So I don't want to hear any more about he's a right-wing ideologue like I'm hearing. The bottom line is that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz blew it just like they...
Yeah, because the problem is with that, a lot of people think that you are incredibly super right-wing. Specifically, if you are one of these individuals who are moderately masculine. So masculinity in itself has basically become right-wing somehow. Being a man, you're born into it, apparently, guys. Listen, I love the Bernie when he ran. Absolutely, I just did. I like the concept of healthcare exclusively, right? I mean, I travel a lot. I've experienced, fairly priced healthcare, and why is that's not the case here, right? So, but either way,
blew it during that craptastic campaign over and over. Al Smith dinner as an example.
Oh, exactly. And it feels like a lifetime ago during the campaign when he did the podcast and Kamala Harris didn't. But bringing it back to today, I mean, it does show once again that Donald Trump is available for the media, and we didn't have that for 4 years.
And
how many media appearances have already happened? Well,
great point.
Speaking of that. This is another notable media moment that took place yesterday between Donald Trump and CNN's Caitlin Collins in the Oval Office. Listen to this.
Mr. President, you won the White House in part because of high inflation. If your tariffs make prices...
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his...
He's a friend of CNN.
Yeah, and
to be honest, the question that was actually asked is a really good question. I would definitely like an answer. Like, listen, we know what the economists are basically stating, and it's not going to be like an amazing thing specifically for a certain amount of time, right? The reality of the situation. But I definitely would love to actually hear like a full, coherent answer to that specific question.
Notable part of that, Joe, to me, wasn't Donald Trump saying that Joe Biden is a friend of CNN and Caitlin Collins. It's the fact that the time that she chose to speak out, it was before she was called upon. I believe there is decorum when you're in the Oval Office meeting with the president, and there is a time to speak, and she sort of chose to violate that?
And Caitlin Collins should know that because she was a White House correspondent during the first Trump term. And then Joe Biden comes in office and suddenly she couldn't run from that room fast enough. But now she's back to hold the powerful accountable because Trump is back in. She's there to make herself the story. She is a recycled version of Jim Acosta. Look at me. No other reporter there jumped in to ask a question. Only Caitlin Collins did because CNN wants to be a part of the story because that's worked so well for CNN to this point. Here's what I know. Since 4 years ago this time in 2021, CNN's primetime ratings, which include Caitlin Collins' show, is down 85% from that time. No one trusts that network anymore, to Trump's point.
All right, Joe, thank you so much.
I mean, listen, bro, there are definitely people who still, like, in fact, trust that network. I mean, these are the people who didn't vote for Trump. They fully believe and they are fully, like, soaked in and completely embodied the victim mentality that CNN basically tends to push here. The anti-man mentality that CNN seems to push along with the left, because that's the current reality. They do have, in fact, a problem with men in that party. And to be honest, Joe Rogan would have potentially allowed her message to be pushed to many, many men, but not saying specifically that many, many men have any interest in just completely, I don't know, bro, becoming a cuck. I don't know, bro. That's a little weird, guys. Well, it's kind of strange. Don't be that guy. All right. But either way, listen, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I do think it would have been smart. All right. But she did actually add like a gigantic amount of stipulations. She also told him to come to her. Right. And it was just like, bro, why? Just do it. Right. But obviously, I guess her base and the people that are around her were basically saying, don't go on his podcast. His podcast is going to be bad. It's going to be worthless. But listen, you guys have a man problem. Like, how are you going to fix the problem? I don't know, maybe offer something that benefits men from your party, potentially. That could probably do it, right? I mean, stop demonizing every single man that's born a man and chooses to maintain and still be a man, right? Masculinity isn't bad, bro. What do you mean? It built the world. What are you talking about? It's crazy. It's wild. We definitely, in fact, need each other, men and women, definitely. All right, but a little weird, no? But all right. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. The fact that you just made it to the end of the video says a whole lot, actually. We have a couple other channels. MrLboyd Music, MrLboyd Movie Reacts, along with MrLboyd Discusses, where I just generally speak about the things that specifically matter to me. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.